gravity ignoring them as they hung laterally into empty space. She had hooked her arms under Moswen's, seeking to break her grip, push her hands aside, and strike straight at her heart. But her adversary was stronger, and not only with the natural advantage conferred by her greater height and mass. She possessed an eldritch power that had percolated over centuries, beyond even Taylor's long experience. Finally, she broke free, using her attacker's own inertia against her to shove her against the wall and launch herself back. Moswen was somehow already on her again. Everything became a flurry of pain and rage and violence. Taylor clawed at her assailant's throat, punched her face, wrenched her limbs, and kicked at her legs and stomach. The Egyptian responded in kind. Fierce, battering blows rained down on the smaller vampire. Knees struck her ribs and jaw, and the long and terrible fangs bit at any vulnerable flesh they could find. The blood of both women, dead and yet not dead, soon flowed, then gushed and spattered. Both began to take amounts of damage that slowed them, yet a rage that had seared its way through entire generations of humankind drove them on in their struggle. Taylor had, for a time, not even felt or truly registered the damage she sustained in the battle. Instead, with the blind fury of a trapped animal, she had devoted everything to simply ripping Moswen apart. Her nails raked strips of flesh from the other vampire's back and shoulders. Her fangs briefly tore a chunk from her neck, and when the Egyptian knocked her down with an elbow, she sank all 10 fingers, as well as her teeth, into the calf of the other woman's leg and peeled most of the muscle from it. That was when Moswen screamed with such bestial anger that Taylor was momentarily shocked and drew back. The pain of her own various wounds swamped her all at once. The howl wavered, then formed itself into words. "You know not," Moswen shrieked. "You know not what you've done. I've only been toying with you. No, you're finished." She hissed defiance and braced herself. Her black eyes, already large within her small white face, grew huge as Moswen reared, trembling, and seemed to summon a dreadful power as if out of the depths of the earth. Sinister golden light shined from her eyes and played about her body. Taylor knew what was happening now. She'd wounded her foe badly enough that she would soon have to retreat, but this development meant that she needed to kill Moswen now. The other vampire had changed. She no longer resembled a tall, regally beautiful Egyptian queen. Her appearance now perfectly reflected the tomb-spawned monstrosity she was. She had grown in height and bulk, and her dusky skin had taken on a leathery, almost scaly quality. Hair had sprouted from her neck and shoulders and appeared in the center of her palms. Her jaw had distended and elongated, while her nose had flattened, and her ears had risen to points high on her head. The black pupils of her brown eyes had changed from orbs to slits. Many vampires, particularly old and powerful ones, possess the ability to shift to a more bestial form, with even greater strength at the cost of their reasoning abilities. Moswen, horrifyingly, was now an awful hybrid of woman, serpent, and jackal. "No!" Taylor cried and flung herself at her enemy, totally committed to taking her head, or her heart, or both, and sending her to the abyss before she could take full advantage of her powers. Somehow she wasn't fast enough. Moswen's hands were now outright talons, clusters of 5 knives, and one of them sheared into her midsection. The smaller vampire doubled over, spitting blood, and harnessed all her strength and self-control. The pain was overwhelming and unbearable. Her eyes flew open, black within white, round and staring at the ceiling of the cave above her, with the mindless intensity that only a nightmare can bring. "Oh," she gasped, her lips parted slightly to permit the faint expulsion of air and sound. "My God, I would never have thought."